Good morning, good morning. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, here we go. So go ahead and you're going to slide your block over. We're going to start with the calf stretch. So you take your left foot forward, you keep the left heel on the floor. And then when you're ready, you pick up the back heel. Start to shift way forward. Now, as far as the balance is concerned, the wider your base is, the easier it's going to be. So if your feet are real close, it's going to make it harder. So if you take your foot back a little bit more and then just out to the side like you have it, now you catch your arms behind your back. Yeah. No worries. Yeah, you're going to do great. And it's okay. This is the nice thing about level 2 classes is to keep the left leg straight as you can. Yeah, there you go. And now pick up the left toes. As in level 2 classes, we start to introduce failure, meaning that we do things that are probably on your edge to some degree, and the game is to, like with balance, chuckle if you fall off. And now you see if you can start to lighten the touch of your right foot on the floor. And maybe shift a little bit more weight forward onto the left foot. Here we go, one more breath. And then we shake that left leg out. As you step off the block, you go ahead and flip it. So now you have a nice fresh edge. Shake that left foot. And then we take the right foot forward. So you start with the heel down and you wiggle the foot up as high as you can above the edge of the block. And then when you're ready, you start to pick up the back heel. This one's tighter, huh? Yep. So catch your arms behind the back. And you don't have to pick up the back foot at all. That's what we want. So huge breaths. Imagine you could breathe directly into the back of the right calf or wherever it feels tight. And that twitchiness in your foot, that's what we're after. And right side typically is tighter for most people because you're right-handed. And so we use right side so much more, and you don't really have to deal with that until you step your right foot forward onto a block. One more breath. Very good. Now you shake that out. Alrighty. Slide blocks over to the front 2 corner edges of your mat. Alrighty. So, you're going to take your feet about shoulder width apart. Take the blocks directly underneath your hands. Underneath your shoulders. So take the blocks a little bit more back. Now you bend the knee. You're going to drape the belly between the legs. And then you wiggle the hips side to side. Feel the difference. Yep. So have you been diagnosed with anything with your back? Mm-hmm. Other than that, well, good. So everything we do in this practice is designed for not that. And although we can't unherniate your discs, all the stuff that we work is to help strengthen your back so that it's asymptomatic. So you pull the shoulder blades down, bend the knees, sink the hips low. As you push the knees apart, look down at your feet for a moment and make sure your feet are parallel to one another. And now you shift the hips back a little bit more. Push the knees apart. And now arch up on the fingertips. So my chest is reaching up, my hips are staying low. And then we lift and lower the hips. You feel the burn, you said? That's right. This is quadriceps. They are super dramatic. So dramatic. So your job is to inhale and breathe. And the prize you win when you get better at these is you just get to do more of them. Isn't that exciting? The real prize is your legs work better. Especially this is excellent for your knees. 3, 2, last one. Hips stay high. Let's take the elbows on the thighs just above the knees. You're going to relax the weight of the head down towards the floor. Wiggle the hips. Beautiful. Hands catch the blocks again. And now we'll center the block in front of the left foot. So my blocks are centered in front of the left foot. The blocks are underneath my shoulders. You're going to take the right toes back. Bend the right knee. We want as little weight on the back foot as possible. You arch on up. And now see if you can reach the right leg up into weather vane. So the left knee stays bent, the right leg is up. And that's it. And now, like your life depends on it, you push the left knee to the left. So I'm not letting the big toe, the ball of my foot come up, but I'm trying to get my left knee on the outside of my left foot. That's it. Huge breaths. You take as many breaks as you need. I've only done this a few thousand times. Very nice. Take this right foot back down, but you keep as little pressure on the foot as you can, the right foot. And now we walk the box to the pinky toe side of the left foot. All the way over. Now, the knees really want to fall in here, and if you don't know this, when the knees fall in and the feet point out, that's when we get into trouble with the knees themselves. So we keep that foot parallel. And now you're going to take this right foot forward so you make sort of like a slice of pie with the toes. I still have most of the weight on the left foot. And then you see if you can pick that right foot up just 1 little inch. Belly pushes down, you arch up. And now you get curious, what would it take to reach my right leg towards the front of the mat? And you just hold it there. Arch up onto fingertips. 3, 2, 1. We unwind from that. Come back to our beginning pose. So my toes are lightly touching the floor behind me. And now we get the inside. So we walk the box to the inside of the left foot. Now here especially the knee wants to fall in. You push that left knee out. There you go. Arch up. And now we're going to take the right foot across the mat over to the left. Arch up, push the left knee out. Push the left knee out. Yeah. Now you're going to shift weight back onto the foot. Lighten the touch of your weight on the blocks. Take a break if you need, no big deal. One more inhale. And then you walk box back to the center. Come back into our original weather vane. You arch up. And then you see what it would take to push to the left heel and stand all the way up. Tick-tock the head. Walk around, you shake your legs out. You have a new leg, brand new. All right, so we're going to come back to feet about hip width apart, hands on the blocks, and now as you wiggle the hips, we're just comparing, feeling the difference. Yeah, you have a longer leg. And then we take the blocks to center in front of the right foot. This left foot comes back behind. You keep as light of a touch possible on the left toes as well as on the hands. Let this right side get warmed up. Now remember, there are certain things that left side is better at versus right, and balance is one of them. So balancing on this right foot is going to maybe feel a little bit more wobbly. You might take more breaks. Just know that that is what we would call normal. So we shift weight back onto the right foot. I'm continuing to crush the ball of the foot into the floor as that right knee pushes to the right, and you see if you can pick up the left leg. Bend your right knee a little bit more. And now push the right knee out. Beautiful. Go ahead and bend the left knee. You're going to touch the left toes back down to the floor. Then we walk the blocks over to the pinky side of the right foot. You want the blocks pretty close to the pinky side of the foot, so take them a little bit closer. There we go. This helps keep the weight on the foot. And now you bend that right knee, you push it out, and you arch up. So my belly is trying to push down, my chest is trying to point forward. And then we take this left foot forward. Pigeon toe the feet. That's it. As little weight on the left foot as possible. And now we reach the left foot towards the front of the mat, sort of like a golf putter. Back to neutral. Left foot touches down behind you. And now here we go for the one that is the most dangerous for the knee. So you take a peek at the right foot, make sure the right foot is parallel, and then as you push the right knee out, you look and you'll notice that the arch of your foot kind of comes up a little bit. That's what we want. All right, you keep that feel of the right knee pushing to the right as we walk the blocks towards the inside of this right foot. Keep pushing that knee out, and then we take the left foot and you cross the mat, take it over to the right. Bend that right knee even more, push the right knee out. That's it, push it out, don't let it fall in. That's it. You're welcome to just lightly touch the back foot onto the ground. And now you arch up on the fingertips. No pain in your knees allowed whatsoever. Only deep inhales, you got it. 3, 2, 1. Walk the blocks back to neutral. Come back into the weather vane. We can start with the toes on the floor. I want you to fight to arch up. We keep weight in the heel of the right foot, as light of weight as possible in the back leg. And then when and if you're ready, you pick up the left leg for weather vane. Push that right knee out, push it out. Even more, push the right knee out. Yes, 3, 2, arch up on the fingertips, and you see if you can balance all the way up to standing. Holy moly. And once you do get vertical, tick-tock the head. So nice. Walk around, you shake your leggies out. It does, doesn't it? I was a personal trainer for over 20 years. And I did a fitness competition. I did all kinds of stuff. Nothing was prepared me for quad burners. They are no joke. It sure does. All right, let's go ahead and make our way all the way down to the floor. So we're going to start on hands and knees just to get ourselves set up for down dog. So your hands are wider than you might normally have them for down dog. The pinkies are off the edges of your mat. You roll the shoulder blades down and away from the body. It's like I'm trying to shove my scapula in my back pockets. And then with my arms straight, I push my hands into the floor. Curl the toes under. Before we straighten the legs, you wiggle the hips. And it's this drapiness of the spine. We call it a natural curve. We're trying to keep a natural curve throughout the whole practice. Perfect. All right, here we go. So hands stay right where they are. You pick up the knees without letting the head dive towards the floor. You keep fighting to arch the chest up. And now in down dog, you wiggle your hips. All right. Go ahead and pick up the right leg. You're going to take it straight back and up. Left knee stays slightly bent. Without pivoting on the left, the ball of the left foot, you try to push your left knee out. And now you imagine that the left hip is sort of the hinge of a door. And from the left hip to the right hip is the door itself. You try to open up the door, so I reach my right hip up. And then you close the door, so I rotate the pelvis, try to point my right hip towards the inner thigh of the left. And I open and close. Good. Last one. Perfect. Both feet down. You wiggle your hips. And now let's see it second side. Fight to keep the arms straight. You grip with your fingers. Left leg comes back and up. You can wiggle the toes and roll the ankle of the left foot. And now we open up the hip. Right knee fights to point to the right, so I'm not letting my right knee fall in as my pelvis opens. And then I rotate, reach the left hip toward the inside of the right leg. Open and close. Keep breathing. One more. Perfect. Both feet down on the ground. We're almost to a break. Before we touch the knees down, can you allow for your shoulders, your arms, your legs to recover? 3, 2, 1. Touch the knees down. Come all the way down to elbows. Wiggle the fingers. You make a fist and roll the wrists. And so one of the things to note about your hands is that you have 8 tiny little bones in your wrist, and they want to squirt out. And part of the problem with being in things like down dog is that your arms are not designed for body weight. They're very different than your feet, by size certainly, but also how they're designed themselves. So just know that if you feel pain in your wrist, your job is to take breaks. The couple ways that you can do that. First thing is you spread the hands wide. This helps decompress the carpal bones in the wrist. And then with the hands spread wide, you wiggle the fingers. And then you make a tight fist. Roll the wrists. That's it. Shake the hands out. All right, you're going to grab one of your blocks. All right. So you have your knees under the hips, the elbows are under the shoulders, palms face down. Notice that you can shrug the shoulders here, and so definitely don't do that. You pull the shoulders down, and your job is to keep them down the entire time. We'll progressively make this more difficult, but this is the beginning movement. So I straighten my arms. Notice my elbow pits are facing forward. So if you roll your elbows in, that's called your shoulders. Shoulders are elevating. So we're trying to keep the shoulders down. Then you bend the elbows, touch the elbows to the floor, and then you pick the block up, and then you touch it back down. That's it. Now notice what's happening in your hands. Where's the weight going? It's going to the pinky side, isn't it? So grip with your fingers. Try to crush your index knuckle in particular into the ground as you lift and lower. It's fun, isn't it? Of course, it's if you redefine fun. Literally, you did. One more. Perfect. Walk the hands back. You're going to come up to kneeling. Tick-tock the head. And now swing the arms. All right. So one of the ways you can get stronger at something you're not good at is called eccentric loading, which you may have heard of, especially if you're used to being in a gym. That's when you slowly lower along or with gravity, basically. So how you're going to do this is you start with the block squozen in between the elbows, and then you straighten the arms, you curl the toes under, you pick up the knees. And then you slowly lower, both elbows touch at the exact same time. That's it. And you touch the knees down. And then you straighten the arms. Straighten the legs. Straighten-ish the legs. Bend the elbows. Squeeze the elbows in. That's it. And then you keep on going. We're going to do maybe 10 of these. Slow and easy. Can you put the emphasis on your inhales as you lower? Your 10 today might be 2. Just do as best as you can. Almost there. Last 2. Beautiful. Get rid of the block. Walk the legs all the way back. Oh, come into reading pose. So elbows underneath the shoulders. So this is less weight on the arms, but your arms are still cooked. They're going to get a break, even more so in a second. So before that, though, let's go ahead and walk the elbows over to the right. So we've lengthened the left side of the waist. Close your eyes. Oh, okay, good. Yes, good ears. Come back to center. Tick-tock the head. And then we walk the elbows over to the left. Both elbows are down. You're pulling your shoulders away from the ears. Close your eyes and breathe into the right side of your waist. One more breath. Wonderful. Elbows come back to center. Hands flat in front of you. Straighten the arms. So we come into cobra. Pull those shoulders down. Trying to relax the belly to the floor. You might feel something akin to compression in lower back. That's because there is compression in your lower back right now. But it's not for the reason you think. It's actually because you can't relax abdomen the same way as you can contract it. So we're trying to get the belly closer to the floor, and it's not just from letting your guts hang out. You inhale, imagine the bones of your spine draping towards the floor. And then you set the elbows down. You're going to take your hands about a hand's length back, so closer to your body, and you straighten the arms again. Relax the belly down. Oh, this is an uncomfortable. So here, this is the game. So grip your hands into the floor, arch the chest up, bend the elbows slightly, try to slide the lower body forward as the head and chest arch up. Squeeze your elbows in. Squeeze your elbows in, squeeze them like there was a block between them. Pull, pull, pull with the hands. So now we've contracted the meat on the back side of your body. 3, 2, try to keep the head right where it is. Don't let it come down 1 inch. You take your hands on your hips. The sound effect is, that's it. Now, one of the things you did, because you're smart, is how you kept your head up as you actually crunched the back of the neck. So keep the back of your neck long. Crunching the back of the neck will give you a stroke. So they used to call it beauty parlor syndrome. So you want to keep the back of the neck long, all the time. So continuing to do that, you lift and lower the upper body, you touch your nose to the floor, and then you pick the upper body back up. hinging on the lower lumbar spine. Keep the back of your neck long. There we go, much better. 3, 2, one more. Stay up, squeeze your buns. See if you can pick the thighs up off the floor with the legs straight. Huge, huge, huge breath. And then you take your hands under your head. Oh, rest your head down. Close your eyes. Now, because we've done all this stuff with extension of the back, there tends to be, especially in the beginning, this sort of reflexive desire to stretch your back, also known as slouching. And if you, to give you a feel for this, if I was to give you a softball and I put it in your hand and I got some real sturdy tape, like Gorilla Tape, bend the knees, pick the feet up, wiggle the toes, roll the ankles. And now tick-tock the shins side to side. Let the pelvis roll on the floor. And I taped the softball with the Gorilla Tape in your hand, nice and tight like. One more breath. Beautiful. Relax the legs down. Slide the elbows back underneath the shoulders. We're going to take the right forearm and turn it over to the left. Go ahead and make sure you have a block handy because we're going to use it in a second. So my right forearm over to the left, and I'm going to shift all the way over onto my right side. That's it. And now that gives us a top and a bottom leg. You're going to bend the top knee and you're going to take it back. And you're going to bend the bottom knee and you're going to slide this bottom knee forward. And I want the right thigh to be parallel with the edge of your mat. So you're going to slide the knee towards, that's a little bit more. Perfect. Now you take both elbows back down to the mat. The right elbow's a little out. Can you take the right elbow underneath your shoulder? There we go. And so we're using the elbows to help keep the chest up. Grab your block. And you're going to take that block underneath the right knee. Just slightly. That's it. And now walk your elbows over to the right, away from the front knee. That's it. So you have this ball in your hand. I've duct taped it in there, so your hand's in this position. And then I left you there. And that was back in 1980. Maybe even before you were born. Today is the day we take off the tape. So we take the tape off, we get rid of the ball. How good is it going to feel to straighten your hand? It's going to feel miserable because your body's not used to doing it. And so this is how you want to start thinking about your back and your spine. All day, most of the day you're slouching to some degree. When you start to do these extended positions, see if you can keep the left elbow on the floor, take the right hand to flat. The one you don't want to do, that's it. Now you arch up, try to turn the chest, look over the right shoulder. That's it, arch up, relax the belly towards the floor. 3, 2, beautiful, straighten both arms. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, take that right arm over to the right a little bit more. And now we keep the right heel of your palm down. You can come up on the left hand fingertips. That's it. Now turn the chest, look over to the right. Can you completely relax the right side of your waist? And so in the beginning, this stuff feels almost wrong to some degree. And it might be. I'm not a doctor. I can't see inside your bones. I don't have MR eyes, you could say. One more breath. Very good. Now you're going to fight to keep the chest up as best as you can. We take this right arm across the mat and you're going to roll onto your back for the kerflop. But the invitation is for the next 2 weeks at least, you don't stretch your back. Every time you catch yourself slouching, you stand up tall. And then you see how you feel after that time. The last time I stretched my back was 2012. And my back has only felt better. And what I notice is that I can correlate the discomfort in my body with how much I've been sitting in front of the computer, if I've been on long road trips. Exactly. So how do you take care of yourself? You sit up straight. You get some kind of stand-up desk. Go ahead and bend the knees, take the feet flat and wide. And you tick-tock the knees side to side. Well, it's exactly right. So drop the knees over to the left. We're going to get second side. You roll all the way over onto your side. And now you have this left thigh is now parallel with the front edge of your mat. And you take the back knee backer. So slide the left knee a little bit forwarder. That's it. Beautiful. Take both elbows down to the floor. And then walk your elbows away from the front knee. The times where I've actually spasms, it feels like the muscle's contracting, doesn't it? I had a lady come to class one time, and was in class, her back started spasming. But when you touched her back, it was squishy. There was zero muscle tension in it, which seems odd, given that she was feeling these spasms. But what ends up happening is that it has that feel to it. So there's a couple things that you can do. Go ahead and grab your block. You're going to set it underneath the left knee. Ta-da! So set it underneath this knee. That's it. Take your elbows back down and then try to walk elbows over to the left. We're trying to undo the slouchy. Lie on your belly. That helps a lot whenever you are. So for right here, not right here. Right here, you're trying to push your elbows. You're trying to arch the chest up. But if you ever have back spasms, getting somewhere where you can lie on your belly, lie flat. Because what's happening is that rectus abdominis is basically stuck in a shortened position, and you have no contraction in your back, which is what you said initially. So you hadn't been strengthening your back, yes? Yeah, so if that happens again, you can do stuff like the extensions we did where you had your hands on your hips. Twisting is so wonderful for your back. You just can't twist with a slouch. So that's one of the reasons we walk the elbows away from the front knee. So you walk the elbows a little bit more further away. Even if you cannot get the right elbow down once you do that, this is helping to undo the slouchy nature of gravity's encouragement. It is uncomfortable, so close your eyes. Try to breathe into the discomfort. You feel rib cage expand, and then as you exhale, you try to soften the belly. Two more huge inhales. And now we set the hands under the shoulders. This left arm is just to the left of the left hip. Arch up, arch up. There we go. Now you pull the left shoulder back, twist the upper body. Try to look over the left shoulder. Yeah, all right. One more breath. Perfect. Now get rid of the block that's underneath the left knee. Your job is to, with all your might, fight to arch your chest up, and then you catch the legs and actually take them forward. Arms come behind the back. Keep the chest arched up. There you go. Wiggle the toes, roll the ankles. Perfect. Grab one of your blocks. We're going to lie over it. So we're going to set the block pretty close to the hips. Yeah, scooch a little bit further away from the wall. Yeah, have a block ready for the head. So we're going to start with the block pretty close to the hips. And remember, if you have to pick between the hips and the head, like you're doing, you take a block underneath the head. Don't worry about the head, but the hips have to stay down. So now you lie back, all the way back, till the head touches the floor or the block. And now, there's not a wrong place to put the block. However, the closer the block is to the hip, the harder it's going to be. Oh yeah, you can. Just go ahead and lie back. And one of the things that you could actually do, see if you can get the head on the block. One of the problems with the blocks that you have is they're super hard. And so that's going to make it more uncomfortable. That's it. Oh, there. Yay. Now pull the shoulders down. The shoulders down a little bit more, a little bit more. And now your job is to inhale like your life depends on it. Now, if you have a block underneath your head, there's a couple things you can do. First thing is that you can play around with turning. So right now you have your block in its second dimension. You can play around with turning it into its flattest dimension and lowering your head that way. You take a couple breaths and you can switch it back. So just playing around with that sensation. Push your hips into the floor. Regardless, try to pick your lower back up off the block. So I'm fighting to get my extensors on. Huge inhales. And then you relax the back. And then you extend, arch the chest up, try to get the back off the block. And you relax. Contract. Relax. Keep going. Inhale. Very good. All right, you keep your hips on the floor. One more time, we contract the back. See if you can lighten the touch of your legs on the floor. So you don't need to pick them up necessarily, but start to load abdomen in a long position. This should feel perfectly weak, completely weak. And your legs may not come up off of the floor, but do the best you can. Just barely off the ground. 3, 2, relax the legs. Bend the knees, take the feet to flat. Hips remain on the floor. You take your feet as wide as the mat. And then tick-tock the knees slow and easy side to side. You let the pelvis roll on the floor. So as I drop my knees over to the right, the left hip comes up and vice versa. Catch yourself holding your breath. Perfect. Now, if you have a block underneath your head, you're going to try to turn it into the next dimension. Walk the legs out to straight. Okay, that's okay. Just walk your legs out to straight, and you're going to keep doing the same thing we did before, where you contract the back, try to get the lower back off the block, and then you relax it. If you're online, what you're going to do is you're going to push your hips into the floor, pick the legs up 1 inch, and then you're going to bend the knees, slide the heels into the bottom, and you let the legs come back out to straight. Bending and straightening the legs, or contracting the lower back. Very good. Last one. Perfect. Now for coming off of a block, you don't sit up. You roll off the block like a rotisserie. You get rid of the block that's underneath the back, underneath the head, and then you roll straight back onto your back. I got it for you. Walk the legs out to straight. Make sure the lower back is off the floor. So you shimmy the shoulders down, arms straight, palms face up. And now you close your eyes. And just notice how your body feels. Expand the lungs with your breath. Especially if you're dealing with an issue in your body, whether it be the knees or the back or the shoulders or the left eyebrow. Imagine you could fill those places up with oxygenated blood. Could actually breathe into those places. Most of the time when we're dealing with things in the body, or even with circumstances in life, the reaction is to resist it, to make it go away. And one thing we know for sure in your body is that if you want to make something worse, you ignore it. You push. You don't pay attention. And so all the things we've done so far in class have led us to this moment where you can actually feel your body better. We've exposed enough of your edges. And hopefully what you can feel now is more space to breathe. Try to fill up the hands and the arms with oxygen like you were inflating a balloon. And then as you exhale, how relaxed can you be? And this next inhale, you let your awareness travel to the throat and the neck, the head, behind the eyes. Breathe all the way down through the belly to the hips. Just noticing. Can you feel the temperature of the air around your feet? Between your toes. Allowing for yourself to maybe even drift off to sleep if possible. Now wiggle the fingers and toes. Make a fist, roll the wrists, roll the ankles. Trying to maintain this little space we have underneath the lower back. Bend the knees and take your feet flat and wide. We're going to come in, we're going to do a little bit of work on back bending before we stand up. If you can't push up into a back bend, you'll just not push up into a back bend. You'll do some alternatives I'll give you. So keeping this lower back up off the floor, keeping the hips down, you pick the feet up off the floor. So this is loading abdomen in a long position. You'll also feel hip flexors. If you can't pick your feet up, that's okay too. Just lighten the touch of your feet on the floor. And then we're going to take our hands into a back bend position. So hands are pretty wide and as deep under the shoulders as they can be. Feet are still up and off of the floor. You're going to try to push through the hands. Can you get the upper back off the floor? And the answer may be no. You just do the best you can. Don't worry about just picking the head up. Head comes up last. And then you relax all the way down. Let's do that 4 more times. Squeeze the elbows in. You push through the heels of the palm. Try to get the upper back up. And then you relax back down. Keep going. Last one. Perfect. Touch your feet down. Take care of your wrists. You make a fist. Roll the wrists. Wiggle the fingers. If that felt like it was on your edge, you're going to repeat that. Otherwise, you're going to come back into your back bend position. We'll just start with the feet up. You push through the hands, and then you set the feet down, and you pick the hips up, push into your back bend. And then you bend the elbows, come all the way down, touch your buns to the floor, and then you push back up. 3 more. Make sure you're inhaling. This last one, you stay up. Try to relax your neck. Push through your buns, squeeze your buns. 3, 2, 1. Everybody relaxes down. Oh, yay. Shake the hands out. We did it. Arms up and overhead. Bend the knees with the feet wide. Tick-tock one last time. Stretch out. And then you pick a side. You roll right on over. Come up to seated. Tick-tock your head. There we go. And now we'll get up together, trying to only use 2 of our limbs. So the left knee is bent. The right arm is just out to the right. And you first see if you can pick up the buns in the right leg. So the other arm is, yeah, there you go. Perfect. And then you see if you can thread this right foot through and then balance all the way up to standing. Ta-da! Tick-tock your head. All right. Go ahead and step all the way back to the wall. One more thing. We're going to reset your posture. So I have my feet about 8 inches, my heels about 8 inches from the wall. You bend the elbows, take the palms, face up. Try to touch your thumbs to the wall behind you. Then you kick the elbows forward. Try to get the elbows in front of the chest. Hips are back. Push your hips into the wall. And then arch the chest up. Try to slide the back of your head up the wall. One more deep breath. It's okay. So I'm pushing my hips back, I'm reaching my elbows forward, and you stay just like that, but you shift your body weight off of the wall, and you step forward a couple of steps. Now imagine you could still feel the wall behind you. Take the arms out straight. I'm trying to point my elbows forward almost, thumbs are pointing down. Tick-tock. Arms come down to the side. Pull the shoulders down, head reaches straight up. And then arms come out straight in front. Try to point the thumbs down. You bend your elbows. Open back up into bad waiter. One more inhale. And now you relax your arms down, close your eyes. Feel the sensation of your head balancing effortlessly over your feet. If you can throughout the day, taking breaks, standing against a wall, coming into bad waiter is super helpful, especially if you sit all day. And on that note, our class is done. So high fives. Thank you for joining us online. If you need anything, let us know. Bye.